And hello, and welcome to the SecurityOrb Show. My name is Caleb Charles, your host. Today, we'll be talking to Georgia Weidman. She is the author of Penetration Testing, a hands-on introduction to hacking. The SecurityOrb Show is a show about information security, information privacy, as well as internet safety. We are at www.securityorb.com. And as stated, I have Georgia Weidman with me today to discuss not only information security, but to also discuss various aspects of her book and her recent MAC 37 Cyber Security Accelerator program that she was part of. Hello, Georgia. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing very good. Thank you for taking the time to interview with us today. Before we start off, you are the founder of Bulb Security as well as Shavira, if I'm correct, if I'm pronouncing it correct. Could you tell us a little bit about these two companies that you are currently founder and CEO of?
Sure. Well, my first company was Bulb Security, and I still have that one. That's my consulting business. And basically, when I got my DARPA Cyber Fast Track grant to build my smartphone pen test framework, which is chapter 20 of my book, I started Bulb Security basically because my job fired me for getting a DARPA grant. So I figured I'd go out on my own and try that. So that's where I do my penetration testing, my training. I do some development work, or really any job service thing that people come up with that they want me to do that seems interesting. It falls under there. And I recently, just this year, spun off Shavira. You did say it correctly, in fact. Good for you. Not everybody does. It's not the easiest, but it is basically a spin-off of the smartphone pen test framework from Bulb Security. Basically, Bulb Security is an LLC, and since I'm in MAC 37, to get investors, they want you to be a C Corp, so I just spun off to make it easier for myself. So it is a product company. So that is basically taking the smartphone pen test framework hack tool and turning it into an enterprise security tool to do penetration testing around mobile devices, around your BYOD program, around seeing whether your enterprise mobility management tools actually provide those security functions they say they do. So that is my second company. So yeah, now I have two.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. And one of the key things that always interests me is that what inspired you to, come up with a particular name such as Bulb Security or Shavira? Like, what was the motivation behind it? Did you just do a Google search, or you just played Yahtzee or Scrabble? And, I guess, how did the names come about?
Well, with Bulb Security, it was really, I had to come up with a name because I had to have the LLC paperwork done to sign the DARPA papers. So I really wanted something like, I don't know, that sounded really intellectual and Latin-y or Greek or something, but, I ended up with Bulb, so you might say I got as far away from that as possible. But my initials, my name's Georgia Elizabeth, so my initials were GE, so I didn't remember this, but my dad apparently called me the Bulb when I was a kid. So that's where Bulb came from. It was like my mom just came up with it, and it stuck. And for Shavira, I, once again wanted an intellectual sounding name, I guess. But since it was a product company, there's a lot of things like Nessus and Hydra and a lot of like Greek mythology names. But I wanted like a female, so I wanted, obviously I wasn't gonna name it Aphrodite, But I was looking and I couldn't find anything I really liked. But I kind of switched from mythology over to like obscure religions. And I play a lot of Final Fantasy, and they use a lot of names from the Kabbalah. So, and I like Madonna, so that helps. So I was looking at Kabbalah things, and I found the word Shavira, and it means basically shattering or destruction. Like as the world was being created, there was this destruction that allowed the world to be like created in harmony. So, I mean, that's pen testing, you do
Yeah.
damage to make it better. So once I read the definition, I'm like, okay, that's it.
Okay, that's good. Thank you for sharing that. Also, I was able to obtain that you studied secure software engineering at James Madison, and I thought it was kind of interesting because I always see software engineering programs, but I've rarely seen a secure software engineering program. So, if you can, what was some of the attributes of a secure software engineering program that wasn't common in normal software engineering programs that most universities have?
Well, I I went to college early, so I graduated college when I was 18, and so my choices were pretty much go move back in with my parents or go to grad school. So my mother's a computer scientist, and when you're a teenager, the last thing you want to be is like your parents. So I actually really didn't want to go to computer science grad school, but I also didn't want to move back in with my parents. So I went. So I kind of it was James Madison basically recruited me to come do this. I'm not sure why, because my undergraduate is in math. And my mother was like, "You're gonna hate software engineering. It's not even coding. It's like project management and stuff." And she was right. It was like project management and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it was a really good program. It's like there was a lot of information security. Like they had a different program that was all online that was information security, and we took a lot of the same classes as them. And there were like we did like project management with security in mind and stuff. So it was a lot of the kinds of things that me and everybody else forgets to do in our hack tools of adding security from the get-go, so you're not like the day before Black Hat and it's like maybe we should really like do sanitation of input on our end. Not that ever happened to me or anything, but
Right.
I the front end with unsanitized strings, but it's stopping things like that from happening because it can be really easy to get wrapped up in I want functionality. Nobody ever got a medal pinned on them for writing a web interface that didn't get hacked. They got a medal pinned on them for writing the coolest web interface ever.
Yeah. Okay, good. Thanks for clearing that up. So, recently, I guess you were accepted or joined what is called a MAC 37 Cybersecurity Accelerator. If you can you tell our listeners what is a MAC 37 Cybersecurity Accelerator and how did you become associated with them, if you can?
So they, a while back, actually sent me like the actual description that I'm probably supposed to read, but I'm not going to, and they can just deal with it because I don't want to pull it up in my email. So it's basically the Mach 37 Cyber Accelerator is, if you think of like Y Combinator, a lot of people have heard of that, the big one in Silicon Valley, except this is specifically for cybersecurity companies. They give you an investment of $50,000 in exchange for 8% of the company, which is nice, but I really think the best parts of the programs are the mentoring and the mentor network, because everyone involved in it, all of the partners, they've had multiple exits in cybersecurity. They know how to start a startup. They know how to get venture capital investments. They know how to get clients. And I'm really good at the tech side, but my sales and marketing skills are pretty atrocious. They're certainly better now after having been in Mach 37, but it's certainly a weakness for me, as it is, I think, for a lot of people who are in the InfoSec community. We're really good at code, or we're really good at exploits, or we're really good at even like speaking or teaching, but we're kind of getting circles run around us by people who aren't as smart as us, by people in the business world a lot of times. So this kind of fills in that gap. I think it's allowed me to be mentored around a lot of the skills I didn't have, and I feel like I'm already I think we're 11 weeks into it now, that I'm, much better, and I've surrounded myself with the kinds of advisors that I probably wouldn't have been able to even get a phone call with, and now, they're clamoring to talk to me. I've got, a lot of interest from really big potential clients for, my productization of smartphone pen test framework and Shavira. So turning it into enterprise tool. I've talked to consultants. I've talked to like enterprise security teams at large organizations. I've talked to vendors in the vulnerability management space who are interested in partnerships and OEMs. So just the kind of stuff that I on my own would not have even known how to go about doing, since they have experience doing that and they have a mentor network of people who want to help. It really allows you to get really far quickly.
Okay, is that something that I guess you would recommend to most individuals that want to start a company or bring a product, or do you think that there might be other ways to do it and this was just the right choice for you?
I mean, I'm sure there's other ways to do it. Certainly, there have been product companies that have gone to market that didn't go through an accelerator. But, I mean, in my case, after I put out the smartphone pen test framework, I always wanted to productize it, but it was like, okay, even if I had a perfect product that was ready to go into sites right now, I wouldn't know how to get it in sites. I don't know anything about that. So, and I think a lot of people are kind of in the same boat. They have really good ideas. They may even have, in a lot of cases, the technical know-how to build it, but they don't really have a lot of the soft skills. So I would really recommend it. I've learned so much. I mean, I went during RSA week. They gave us some time off, and I went to see my mom, and she's like, "You're like a whole different person." So it's really changed my life for the better, and I would recommend it. They are actually now taking applications for the fall class, so it's 90 days on site in Northern Virginia, so right outside of DC. And so if you're from out of that area, you can certainly come in. I reside in Texas normally, so I just came up here, and so I mean they've had people from even out of the US, and so I would recommend it. And it's, if you just go to www.mach37.com, there's the application there, and I could, if any of the listeners want to talk to somebody there ahead of time, if they just contact me, I could talk to them about it, or put them in touch with some of the partners here at Mach 37. That's what was done for me before I even applied. I talked to them, talked them through my technology, and they already gave me some ideas about things I hadn't been thinking about as good strategies going forward, before I even applied. So it's really great.
And I guess from what I remember reading is that I guess you'll be graduating soon, around June. So congratulations on that. And what does it mean once you do graduate in June? What does that mean actually?
Well, we do have our demo day, which is our graduation on June 2nd, and that just means that they are going to put us up in front of a lot of investors. So we're currently working on our investor pitches. We've been working on our customer-facing pitch, but now we're doing investors for demo day, and then after that, we're still going to be part of the Mach 37 community. When the fall class comes in, I'll be up here a fair amount for follow-on work. They'll, the mentors, some of them are going to be official advisors to my company. My Mach 37 partner, who's part of the Mach 37 organization, will still take me to customer meetings and things like that. It's just that the formal part where we have classes pretty much every day, we did sales training, we've had a lot of product management people come in and work with us, things to help us build our skill set. That part will be over, but it'll still be a lot of follow-on work. I'll still get all the benefits from it.
Okay, great. Thank you for sharing that. So this brings us to the main reason why I wanted to talk to you, is about your book. And if you could introduce the title of your book and kind of give a brief description on what your book is about.
Well, my book is called Penetration Testing, A Hands-On Introduction to Hacking. A very mouthful of a title. Basically, I wanted hacking to be in the title, and my publisher wanted penetration testing to be in the title, and I wanted introduction in the title. So basically, we just picked all the words we both said we had to have, and that's the title that we came up with. And so it's from No Starch Press, and it came out last, I think, June, so June 2014. and it is, as the name implies, a hands-on introduction to penetration testing. So I wanted the word hacking because I felt like a lot of people coming in maybe didn't know the word penetration testing yet, but